The motorcycle, a machine that combines engineering ingenuity with human thrill-seeking, has become a global symbol of freedom, adventure, and innovation. Its journey began in the 19th century, evolving from awkward steam-powered contraptions to sleek, high-performance machines that have redefined personal transportation. From inventors' garages to the racetrack, from wartime fields to open highways, the history of the motorcycle is as much about cultural evolution as it is about technological progress. This is the story of how two wheels, an engine, and a vision changed the way we move. The origins of the motorcycle are closely intertwined with the broader history of mechanical transportation and the internal combustion engine. The 19th century was a fertile time for innovation. Engineers across Europe and North America were experimenting with steam, gas, and electric propulsion, trying to replace the horse with machines. The bicycle, which became widespread during the early 1800s, provided the perfect lightweight frame for motor-powered experimentation. But before the gasoline-powered motorcycle could roar into existence, it had to crawl through early designs that relied on steam. The first recorded attempt to combine an engine with a bicycle-like frame came in 1867, when American inventor Sylvester H. Roper created a steam-powered velocipede. Roper's machine had a small steam engine mounted on a wooden frame with two large wheels and a small firebox. It was an impressive concept and functioned reasonably well, but it had serious drawbacks. Steam engines were heavy, required time to build pressure, and presented obvious safety risks when mounted between a rider's legs. Though Roper demonstrated his machine in public and even rode it at exhibitions, the steam-powered motorcycle never gained practical momentum. Still, Roper is considered one of the forefathers of motorcycle design. Meanwhile, in France, engineer Louis-Guillaume Perrault developed a similar steam-powered bike in the early 1870s. His design, called the Velocipede A Vapor, also used a small steam engine fitted onto a reinforced bicycle frame. At the same time in Germany, inventors were taking a different approach. Rather than using steam, they were laying the groundwork for the internal combustion engine, which would eventually become the standard for motorcycles and cars alike. That breakthrough came in 1885 with the work of German engineers Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach. They created the Reitwagen, or riding car, often cited as the first true motorcycle. The Reitwagen was built around a wooden bicycle-style frame and was powered by a single-cylinder internal combustion engine, fueled by gasoline. It was clunky, with stabilizing side wheels and a top speed of around 7 miles per hour, but it marked a turning point in transportation history. Daimler and Maybach weren't trying to create a motorcycle per se. Their focus was on developing small, high-speed engines. However, by placing their engine on a two-wheeled frame, they unknowingly launched a revolution. The development of the motorcycle continued through the late 19th and early 20th centuries, as engineers improved on the internal combustion engine and adapted bicycle frames to support greater speeds and heavier components. In 1894, the German company Hildebrand and Wolf Müller introduced the first commercially produced motorcycle. It was also the first machine to be officially referred to as a motorcycle. With a two-cylinder, four-stroke engine and a top speed of around 25 miles per hour, the Hildebrand and Wolf Müller bike was groundbreaking, although it had practical limitations. It lacked a clutch and required the rider to push-start it by running alongside before jumping on a less than ideal process. Still, it demonstrated that motorcycles could be manufactured on a commercial scale. By the early 1900s, motorcycle production began in earnest across Europe and the United States. In England, Triumph began producing motorized bicycles in 1902. In the United States, Indian Motorcycle Company was founded in 1901 by George M. Hendy and Carl Oscar Hedstrom. Indian quickly became one of the leading motorcycle manufacturers in the world, known for their performance and innovation. Their 1903 Indian single set speed records and helped popularize motorcycles for sport and leisure. Not far behind was Harley-Davidson. Founded in Milwaukee in 1903 by William S. Harley and brothers Arthur, Walter, and William Davidson. Their early models featured modest engines and bicycle-like frames, but by 1909, they had introduced their famous 45-degree C-twin engine, a design that would become synonymous with the Harley brand. Harley-Davidson motorcycles were robust and dependable, which made them ideal for long-distance touring and later military use. Motorcycles soon found their way into wars, where their rugged construction and high mobility made them ideal for dispatch riders and reconnaissance. During World War I, motorcycles played a crucial role in moving messages, medical supplies, and troops quickly across chaotic battlefields. Companies like Harley-Davidson and Indian produced thousands of units for the U.S. and Allied forces. The image of soldiers riding motorcycles under fire elevated the bike's reputation as a tool of speed, strength, and bravery. The interwar period saw major improvements in motorcycle technology. Gearboxes, clutches, electric lighting, and suspension systems were added or refined. The 1920s and 1930s witnessed a boom in motorcycle culture, with races, clubs, and tours becoming common. Britain's BSA and Norton became famous for their racing prowess, while BMW began producing motorcycles in Germany, starting with the R32 in 1923, introducing the iconic flat-twin Boxer engine. By the time World War II erupted, motorcycles were an essential part of military operations. Various countries developed military-specific bikes. The German Wehrmacht used BMW and Zundab motorcycles with sidecars for troop mobility, while the U.S. Army relied heavily on Harley-Davidsons. The British Army used bikes from Triumph and BSA, including the rugged Triumph 3HW. Motorcycles were dropped from airplanes, used for courier missions, and even modified to carry weapons. After the war, many surplus bikes were sold to civilians, contributing to a boom in motorcycle ownership and modifying culture. The post-war years brought the rise of Japanese motorcycle manufacturers, who would eventually come to dominate the global industry. Honda, founded by Soichiro Honda in 1948, began with small motorized bicycles and gradually expanded into full-size motorcycles. The release of the Honda Super Cub in 1958 revolutionized the industry. It was affordable, reliable, and easy to ride. "You meet the nicest people on a Honda," the advertisement famously claimed, changing the public perception of motorcycles from outlaw machines to family-friendly transportation. Meanwhile, Yamaha, Suzuki, and Kawasaki entered the market in the 1950s and 60s, producing high-performance bikes at competitive prices. These companies pushed the boundaries of speed and design, challenging American and European dominance. By the 1970s, Japanese bikes were outperforming many traditional brands in racing and on the street. The Kawasaki Z1 and Honda CB750, both introduced in the early 70s, set new standards for power and engineering excellence. The motorcycle was no longer just a vehicle, it was an identity. In the United States, the 1950s and 60s saw the rise of motorcycle clubs and the outlaw biker, culture fueled by media portrayals in films like The Wild One, starring Marlon Brando, and Easy Rider with Peter Fonda. The image of the leather-clad rebel astride a roaring chopper became iconic. Customization became a hallmark of biker culture. Choppers, bobbers, and cafe racers allowed riders to express individuality through their machines. Builders like Arlen Ness and Jesse James turned bike customization into an art form. The 1980s and 1990s introduced new categories like sport bikes and adventure bikes. Companies like Ducati, Aprilia, and MV Agusta led the way in European sport racing, while Japanese companies released sleek, high-speed models like the Yamaha YZF-R1 and Suzuki Hayabusa. Off-road motorcycles and dual sport bikes gained popularity, offering versatility on both pavement and dirt. Safety and rider education also began receiving greater attention, with helmet laws and riding schools becoming more common around the world. Technological innovations continued into the 21st century. Modern motorcycles are equipped with digital dashboards, fuel injection, anti-lock braking systems, traction control, and even semi-autonomous features. Electric motorcycles have entered the scene, with companies like Zero Motorcycles and Harley-Davidson's Livewire leading the charge. These bikes offer quiet, clean, and instant torque-filled rides, appealing to a new generation of environmentally conscious riders. As of today, motorcycles serve a diverse set of roles. They are tools for commuting, symbols of freedom, platforms for competition, and canvases for creative expression. In countries like India, Indonesia, and Vietnam, motorcycles are a primary means of transportation. In Western countries, they often serve recreational or enthusiast purposes. The global motorcycle industry is worth billions and supports a vast ecosystem of manufacturers, dealers, racing leagues, and passionate communities. From steam-powered beginnings to electric-powered futures, the motorcycle's evolution reflects both the advances of technology and the changing pulse of human society. It's a story of engineers and rebels, of war and peace, of craftsmanship and culture. Whether you hear the thundering roar of a cruiser on the highway or the whisper of an electric motor zipping through city traffic, the motorcycle continues to captivate and to ride forward into the future.